There you go. Be easy for me to slide that way. Okay, so while it's going live, show up. There we go. Facebook. Okay. Okay. We good, right? Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're here with Sister Corisha Rogers. Morning breakfast. Thank you guys for making me sit in this chair. Okay. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. You guys are online. Those who watch the recording. Thursday morning breakfast. It's about us coming together with people in the community who are doing some phenomenal things that the community needs to know about. Some phenomenal things that can help us move forward. Our goal is to be the bridge between the people that are doing the good and the people that need that good to be done in their lives. You guys have heard me say before, we've had speakers on before, where we talk about the importance of voting. And more importantly, the importance of knowing who and what you're voting for. As much as possible, we want to get away from simply casting our ballot because somebody told us who or what to vote for. We want to become educated voters. But to do that, you have to be open and willing to be educated. You have to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to be wrong because we don't know everything. And you have to understand that, especially now with this administration, if you're not plugged in politically, if you don't understand what's going on politically, locally, regionally, and nationally, then bad things happen for those that aren't plugged in, those that don't participate, and those who are actively engaged. And we got to get away from that. So we're going to have a robust conversation with Sister Corisha Rogers. I apologize. She sent me her bio. I forgot to send it to myself.
Yeah, the shorter one.
Yeah, but it's okay because I forgot anyway. So we're going to have her do a brief intro.
Okay.
And then she's going to tell you about her. And I wanted to, since the first time I saw her, because I saw her online first, and then I was at an event that she was at. She has a baby face, but she's older than she looks. That black no crack thing really matters.
It really is.
And what excites me about her is that she's committed to grassroots, from the bottom up, political mobilization, education, and organization. You said political nerd.
Yeah.
She fancies herself, and this is another word that you use. Something political nerd. I'm not sure it was extreme, but it's another major. That's it. She's a quote unquote major political nerd, but I believe her because the receipt, as you young people say, the receipts bear that out that she loves politics. So I'm going to turn this thing over to Sister Corisha Rogers. She's going to tell you who she is, what she does, why she does it, and then we're going to get into the importance of us not only listening to her and following her lead, but creating more Corisha Rogerses, if you will. Because it's unfair for us to expect one person, no matter who the person he or she is, to do everything.
Yeah.
Because there's too much to be done. And this is one of the issues that I had with Brother Christian going up against Brother Al.
Right.
That the lines were redrawn on purpose.
Right.
These brothers were going against each other on purpose, but there was no succession plan. Al should have had a bunch of Christians already waiting in the wings, whereby, it wouldn't have been a problem, and he would have been able to, ready, willing, and able to pass the baton to the next generation. And we have not been as good as we need to be when it comes to our political mobilization, organization, and succession plans.
Right.
So to Brother Christian and anybody his age, how old is Christian?
Yeah, he's like 30. So he's a few years older than me. I think he's like 38. 39.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you young people. All right. So to Brother Christian and the other Brother Christians, we got to have succession plans. We got to have the Christians connecting with the Corishas, who connect with my son, whose name is Cheo, and then we keep this thing going so that we can create what other groups have, a serious plan for political mobilization, education, organization, and power.
Right.
Because if we don't have political power, especially on a local level, technically. So on that note, I'm turning over to Sister Corisha, and we're gonna do this thing. All right. Good luck, sister.
Thanks. Well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. All right.
Good morning, beautiful people. My name is Corisha Rogers. I am a longtime organizer here in Houston. I am born in Houston's 3rd Ward, and from there, I have been just an active organizer in my community because I believe our voices have so much more power than we give ourselves credit for, and I think our community does not see that. And my goal is to hopefully encourage people in the future to see that your vote has power. I have been all over the place trying to do that. I work for a list of candidates trying to help see the importance of voting for the right candidate. So I've helped candidates like Mayor Turner, Molly Cook, I have helped a lot, so I have to really sit down and think about it sometimes. But like, I also work for Planned Parenthood. I have been actively organizing in the Houston community for the past 14 years, actively trying to increase participation in our voting process because a lot of money goes into getting people out to vote. And I want people to understand that when these candidates are raising these millions of dollars, it's because they got to reach out to you. They have to pay a field team to go knock on your door. They have to pay for flyers, mailers, and everything of the sort to get people out engaged to vote. Because people getting the turnout is always low. Houston has 2.1 million registered voters, and most elections we only get maybe 200 to 300,000 at best.
Why do you think that is?
It's the lack of engagement and how messy politics can be.
Okay.
And so with politics being so messy, people like turn off from it. But what I gotta help people understand is that every aspect of your life, the second you walk out the door, it's politics.
Say that again real slow.
Every aspect
of
your life is politics.
It's politics.
When you walk out the door and your streets suck,
come on,
that's city.
Come on, make it plain.
When you get on the freeway and you have to do all this road construction, that's TxDOT.
That's right.
When you're having to do all the flooding areas around you, that's the county. Like it's all politics. They all have a way matters to you. So it's very important that you get engaged. Because if you're not getting engaged, someone's getting engaged on your behalf, it may not be acting fully in your best interest.
Why do you think, not to cut you off on your
No, you're good. No, please.
That's a very, 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 very simple thing to understand.
Right.
Do you think people don't get that because they've never thought about it, or is it because it's never really been told to them? Because that's extremely simple.
It's a mixture of both, right?
Okay.
A lot of people haven't been told, because unfortunately, grade school doesn't really teach you politics. It teaches you how it works, but it doesn't teach you how you get involved.
Right.
And I think they started to phase that out a long time ago, and that's one of the key problems. But also because modern life is very busy. Work, school, jobs, like work, school, whatever other responsibilities you have, you're constantly having to run around and take care of those, and you don't have time to sit down and look at politics. But I have to encourage you, you don't need to have a whole day to look at politics, just maybe an hour of your time to look into candidates and why they're running. And if you have an hour here and there, go check out a candidate's event, learn more about that candidate, learn why they're running, because Black people especially, we are good to see through the BS. And we need to use that power that we have to be more engaged and understand, okay, you're actually about the community. You are. Because what happens is when you don't, those candidates know who to reach out to. And if you're not on that list, they're just going to go reach out to them and go get the votes needed to win the office. And then years down the road, when you get them on the news doing all this weird crap, you're like, what the heck is going on here? It's because we didn't engage. Right.
And we didn't properly screen.
So we have to be better about that. But also, I think because of that, we also have politicians who are very comfortable where they are and not interested in doing things either differently or understand at the time. Because there should be no elected official, honestly, who's in office who barely knows how to work a computer. Computers have been out for at least over 20 years at this point, and there are still elected officials to this day who don't fully understand how to work a computer.
Comfortable where they are. You say it's not good to have a politician who is comfortable where they are.
Right.
So would that mean to you that would be a status quo kind of politician who is really not trying to change anything because they're okay?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is definitely a politician with the status quo, because mind you, the world is consistently changing. And we need elected officials that are keeping up with what's going on.
Right.
So like the whole AI thing, I feel like to do proper legislation against the whole rise of AI, we're decades behind. Before we even get meaningful legislation to actually put restrictions on AI, they're going to do all this stuff. Like they're already building these huge data centers in Black and brown communities around the nation. And we're nowhere ready to stop them or regulate them to the way that they need to be, because right now they are actively taking resources from our environment. And that's just because, look, I grew up with technology, but I also understand that AI should be an assistant and nothing more. I think the big tech companies are trying to make it a person instead of an assistant.
Amen. So as it relates to politicians, being okay with how things are, and the importance of understanding that the world is not only changing, but it's changing very rapidly.
Right.
And this is not to beat up on Brother Al Green.
It's okay.
But he seemed to have an anti-AI perspective.
Right.
Do you think that's because, or it had to be because, he simply didn't understand it, or was he not trying to understand it? And how detrimental was that to him in this campaign?
I don't think it was that detrimental, to be honest.
Okay.
I think so because like the people that went after him, like the crypto pack, I think they had long beef against him way before either him or Christian ever stepped onto the field. So,
Okay.
which I really wish they stayed out of. Honestly, I feel like they made things worse than they helped. I think it's the fact that he's still kind of trying to understand what AI is, and we've long understand like it should exist to help, but nothing past that. We should be regulating them. Quit trying to replace workforce because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to replace the workforce. They can save but tons of money, make 300 to 400% in record profits, and forget everybody.
It's already begun. The replacement's already begun.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I think a study came out saying like 20%, 23% of the reason why people are getting reduction in the workforce is because of AI.
Yep. So it's not coming, it's here.
Yeah. And plus I also love Brother Al Green too, but I think one of the frustrations I have with him, because I'm also the co-chair of the Houston Progressive Caucus.
Which is what?
What is his succession plan? Because I am very encouraging that we need to have people that succession, because like Congressman Turner, before he passed, we had a conversation about it. And he was encouraging me and other people, like, we need to start this leadership academy to encourage the next generation of leaders.
Okay.
But when I interviewed Green on behalf of the Progressive Caucus for endorsement, he's like, I will let the people decide. Which in a sense, I understand it, but at the same time, I'm like, unfortunately, we know this game.
Yeah.
People are going to put their people there, and I think you have political knowledge and know-how to help these people get there, because unfortunately, this game is not fair.
It's not, yeah.
You need to have the money, the name, like you gotta have all this stuff behind you before you can even step into a race.
Okay, so name that organization again.
Houston Progressive Caucus.
So the Houston Progressive Caucus is about succession plans.
Yes, it's about succession plans. It's about actively fighting the issues and moving our city forward.
Okay.
Because right now, I think we are at a point of like, here's how things are. We don't want to change that, and then like we have to.
Right.
I think if anything, Trump's second term has shown us that we have to. We have to change the way we play the game, or otherwise we're just not gonna have power at all.
Right.
Their goal is to absolutely eliminate any Democrat from power. That's just period.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of electeds that exist right now. Not a ton, but there are some that don't get that picture.
Okay.
And especially some that ran for office recently. It's like, you don't understand how dire this is. And so we as the Houston Progressive Caucus exists to say, this is dire. We're stepping up because it's dire.
Right.
And we are going to take the actions needed to either put a person in there who understands the assignment, or get ready to remove people who don't.
Right, because you're a detriment, you're in the way.
Yeah.
So you had a conversation with Brother Al about the importance of succession plans, and he said, my thing is to let the people decide. But the people are, I don't mean this disrespectfully, people are ignorant.
They're ignorant, but also because they don't understand that before people get on the board to run, there's a lot of pieces already in place.
A lot of pieces.
Like by the time the people get involved, it's already like 2 steps of checkmate.
Yeah.
And having run for office personally, I had to learn that too. It's just like you have to be ready ahead of the game. You cannot just hop in and expect things to move in your direction.
Right.
You have to pretty much have things set up already.
Okay, as you young people say, pause.
Yeah.
All right. So my first question, which is a perfect segue to what you just said. You, as far as I know, you run for Congress twice, correct?
Technically, yes.
Why you say technically?
Because the first one was because it was a special. Because,
but you still ran.
Yeah.
That's when I first saw you in the video. I'm like,
okay.
I thought you were 18 when I first saw you. I'm like, no. So you had to be, don't tell me, when you were on that panel, Sylvester was on that panel.
I think it was early. So it was like
you'd be 26, 24.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that long ago.
No, I mean.
Because I'm 32 now, so I think it was right 30.
That was only 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
You're good.
You run for Congress at least twice.
Correct.
Technically, you ran. But those are the only 2 times you've run, correct?
Right.
Okay, so my first question, why do you fancy yourself a major political nerd? I mean, that's a good thing.
I fancy myself as a major political nerd because I really want to know how the process works. And I want people in my neighborhood, my community, and people around me to understand how important it is. A lot of people don't. When I'm telling engaged, like the funny part is my mom did not vote for over 30 plus years. And when I started really getting involved, I managed to talk her down to finally start voting.
Okay.
Like she was, I think in like her late 40s when she finally started voting.
That's interesting because I might be older. I'm 55. Am I older than your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's 52.
She's
52.
Okay, so she's old enough. Most people in our generation, Brother Will and I, we understand that the why voting is important and we vote. because we've been around long enough to realize what's what.
Right.
And it's interesting that she's our age, but she was not there. Why do you think she was not that way?
Life. I think life gave her a lot of challenges.
Okay.
And she just was not able to even get to that point where she could be like, okay, so let me explain.
Okay.
She's like, I got a daughter to take care of by myself.
I got bills. Life be life.
Yeah.
Your father was the same way. Did he go? We were grateful for him. Okay. So what? Because I'm assuming you weren't always a major political nerd.
Correct.
Right? Something happened to help. And I said Corisha, but you said
Corisha.
Corisha.
Yeah.
Corisha.
Yeah, just Rish.
Corisha instead of Reach.
Yeah.
Corisha. Yeah, I'm
You're good.
well, names are important to me because my name is different, and I actually changed my name, so I want to make sure I get it right. Corisha.
Yeah.
Not Corisha.
Yeah.
I
honestly, I get it, but at the same time, like I live with.
Well, I want to say it like you say.
Yeah.
Corisha. Right, Corisha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened that you realized that this political thing matters?
There's a few things that happened. I think kind of in succession. One of my dearest friends came out to me as gay, right?
As what?
As gay.
As gay.
Lesbian. You're right.
What? Is that what lesbian is? A gay person?
Well, like other women, right?
Okay. Of course she is.
Yeah. And then I also saw how her family treated her, and I didn't think that was right. They kind of treated her like she just kept her on side.
Black?
Yeah.
A family of older people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't like how they did that. That was one thing that irritated me and motivated me. Like, we got to change that. Like, people can't, like, especially us as Black people, we can't be discriminatory towards anybody. We're constantly being discriminated against.
Yeah.
I'll never understand that.
Ignorance.
Yeah. And then second thing was when they shut down Ryan Middle School, because that was my middle school.
Okay.
And I saw the process of them leading up to it. Basically, they're like, okay, Ryan's underperforming. We're not going to support it. And we're just gonna let it fall down to the point where we can officially shut the school down.
So you saw that.
Yeah.
And you saw while it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to be approximately what age when you saw it?
I was at this time maybe 14 or 15.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because I think I was just starting high school when they were coming after Ryan.
Okay.
And I went to the community meetings.
Yeah.
I saw the community rage, their frustrations of like, you keep just letting schools fail and then you want to shut it down, because that is the constant targets in Third Ward are Ryan, Blackshirt, and Gates.
Okay.
They only got one, unfortunately, but we still have our Blackshirt and Gates. But and they said that for years they've been trying to get all three of those schools officially shut down, turned into charters, because we also know that the charter system makes more money than the public school system.
Yes.
And I was engaged in that community. I think.
Wait. Charter schools make more money than the public school system.
Right. Well, it makes more money for the district because they're having because certain corporations work with the school to fund that school existing. Because like right now, Ryan is named Baylor College of Medicine.
Okay.
So who's sponsoring that school?
Right. Okay.
And when you saw communities outrage, you saw the person who was elected to lead them and their kind of lackadaisical response to their frustrations, for it ended up being to shut down anyway.
I'm assuming that was a city council person?
Actually, trustee. Back when we had control of the district.
Okay.
It was mainly the trustee that was there, which because they were trying to advocate for the school not to go down. They're saying you guys do this all the time in Black neighborhoods. And they weren't lying.
Yeah.
But you just feel like they were kind of giving you that, okay, yeah, I understand. I care.
Yeah.
And then the next day, school shut down.
Right.
And stuff like that made me like, okay, no, we've got to start seizing power in this political system, because otherwise we're just going to keep getting played. I don't like being played.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do so much work to try to become one of the players in the game, because we can't keep getting played. And I love people in my neighborhood. Like I love it because the community raised me. I'm not a person that was raised just by my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had neighbors that looked out for me.
Sure.
Like when it got dark, they looked like, why are you outside? Go.
Yeah. That matters a great deal.
Yeah. There was an organization called Project Row Houses. They used to have an after school program.
They're not around anymore?
They're still around.
Okay.
They're just an arts organization now.
Right.
So they do like artist rounds and stuff. But back then, when I was growing up, they had an after school program.
Okay.
That was my community.
Okay.
They helped me drive me in the right direction because I was a bad kid at times.
No. Say it ain't so.
And they make sure I stayed in the right direction. Because like there were always pivotal moments in my life at that point where I could have gone any other direction.
Okay.
But these people kept me on the right track, and they helped me understand why it's so important to keep fighting.
Yeah. So what was it like to be a young 14-year-old Black girl seeing the politics of your school being closed, and of course you want other people to see it. What was that like to have that realization and to talk to people who were like, ah,
A frustrating experience,
yeah,
honestly,
to say the least.
because like, mind you, that I'm the only student in my room most of the time that are even remotely talking about politics.
Mhm.
Because like I had a goal where I do want to become president of the United States.
Okay.
I'm the only one in that class who will talk anything there. Everybody's like doctor, hairstylist, everything that's kind of out of the political realm, and I'm the only one. So I always feel like, okay, am I crazy? Am I doing something wrong? Am I wants to be in part of this?
Right.
So imagine when I go to adults and they have the same kind of attitude.
Yep.
That's nowhere near what they're looking at. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah, and your
Is there
age
something I don't know?
too, but these people, yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you do?
I kept persevering. Because I knew what my heart wanted.
Mhm.
And I kept going forward with it. Now, mind you, I was also at the age where I wanted to do it all. I wanted to
Sure.
be a cop, I wanted to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
and a politician
I
all
can
at
do
the same time.
Gotcha.
Which is why I went to the high school for law and justice. But once I started like getting older and getting closer to graduation, I would talk to one of my political science teachers, and she's like, "There are a lot of lawyers, a ton of lawyers,
Okay.
and there are a ton of officers, and I think something that you should focus on is working in politics."
Okay.
And that right there was like all the motivation I needed to keep pushing forward
Right.
past high school.
Right. Okay. Did you go to college?
I went to Houston Community College.
What was your major? Politics?
Political science.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But unfortunately, I had life circumstances have to make me have to prioritize working
Okay.
over school. Because I was at that. Because when I graduated, I was at that pivotal point where I was trying to do both. But life was not allowing me. So I had to shift over and start working. And I worked directly. First campaign I started working for was the Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
And that's kind of where everything took off. Where I was canvassing, getting people to sign up for the Affordable Care Act, because that was right when they launched it, and they had hired canvassers to go out and get people signed up.
Okay.
And so I was a part of that program.
Okay. So given your understanding of the importance of political education, mobilization, organization, you've run for Congress twice.
Right.
But that's another level.
Right.
So help us understand why you didn't start more locally with your first run as opposed to just shooting for Congress.
I think one thing I touched on earlier is that there are older politicians who are so married to being that elected position.
Yep.
And it's not just one, it's a trend among multiple electeds across multiple districts. And it's getting frustrating. We're seeing real-time consequences of electeds not allowing people to come up and become a leader.
Can you give an example of that? Real-time consequences? Can you give an example?
There's a list of them, right? Like, I mean, one, because the younger voices don't feel heard. Because the young people who want to get involved in politics don't feel heard. And it's because older politicians like, I know my base, y'all know that. And it comes off to us like that when we come out and we bring up our concerns, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we hear you," and they go turn, "Okay, hey, my little fundraiser," and that's who they're really listening to. That's who they're really.
That's a good point. Yeah, base. Yeah. Okay.
And it's like the base needs to change, which is one of the frustrations, but also like prices are getting high. What it took for my mother and my grandfather to be a successful individual in this country is a whole lot different. The bar is 10 times higher.
Yeah.
Because like we make 50, 60,000 a year jobs, and they barely pay the bills.
Right.
And it's very frustrating to be in that kind of predicament when everything's going higher. Companies are just constantly going up. They're never going to go down. That's the crazy part. Because we knew with COVID, like they needed to regulate them to go back down because they weren't going to go back down. They were like, we're making all this money during COVID.
Yeah.
We go down.
The reason for it to go down. Yeah.
Yeah, so we need people to be more enforceful and stricter on these companies to make sure they don't keep charging family. Because like right now, we are at the worst point where everything's hot.
Okay.
Everything, food, gas, like just doing anything is 10 times higher than what it was 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
And I don't feel like a lot of elected officials either understood it or was taking steps towards it. Because I think, especially on the national stage, it felt like it was just a constant stalemate.
Pulse.
Yeah.
So do you think the elected officials weren't aware or didn't know?
I think,
or was they didn't care, or was it they didn't care?
I think it's a mixture, right? I think some there are a few who were aware, who took steps, but that the fortune was like very few where they just like actively understood like, okay, this is a problem, we need to start addressing it. but there's all the other elected officials that were just, kind of not fully near but not kind of dancing around the issue. They would tackle other issues, but they wouldn't go after the main thing that's affecting people's lives.
Right.
And that was what was frustrating, was that these are direct issues. Like, we know, and also we see the Republicans game. Like, we see the Republicans, like, this is before we even got Trump.
Yeah.
They were already planning to try to remove us from power, because they always have rules for you, but never for them.
Sure. Well, they got rules. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, please see what they're doing. They're about to try to seize all political power.
Okay.
Oh, they're fine. We'll work with Republicans, because, like, whenever that comes up, it's only on Democrats to have that standard to, we'll work with Democrats or work with Republicans.
Yeah.
If you go to a Republican event, never the topic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we can't keep playing with people that hate us.
Right. And
we have to move in our own structure. And then also, if you want people to support us and to truly go forward and, like, hey, okay, you want people to actually get engaged, we have to stand on our values. We can't just keep capitulating to Republicans, because it hurts us.
Right.
Because now you're hurting the people who already support you.
Right.
And I think a lot of elected officials in the past years have not understood that, which is what motivated me initially to run. Because I love and greatly respect Sheila Jackson Lee. Because she was also one of my sparking points of becoming into politics.
Okay.
I met her at a women's march at Emancipation Park in 9th grade.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, you're cool. I want to do work just like you.
Yeah.
And when she passed, I was like, that really sucks.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, I wish she didn't hold the seat for so long. I wish she let other people.
Succession plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, it's obvious they're not going to let that happen. I'm just going to try to get in front of it.
Right.
Which is when I ran after she passed during that special election for the party. I ran just because I was like, I have a message.
Okay.
I would like to be your representative.
How many votes did you get? Do you remember?
Because, like,
so you got that beforehand.
No. You have to get nominated.
Oh.
So during that process, you have to be nominated by.
That's right. That's why you were there at that event. Okay, I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, the precinct chairs had to nominate you.
Sure.
Thankfully, the precinct chairs gave me a chance to be on the debate stage.
Yeah.
Because they also had to vote for that as well.
Right.
And I did a full blast. It's like, hey, give me this chance to be on the stage. I already knew my chances weren't high, but I'm like, I fight for what I believe in, so you're not going to stop me.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't care who's on that stage. And I think a lot of people start to notice that once I got on that stage, is that I can read one. Right. I am fighting for my people. And that will be way more strength than ever being afraid to fight against elected officials. Like, there are multiple on there who've been long-time politicians.
Seasons.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care. I can stand against you. I'm here.
And I think intellectually you held your own.
Right.
But obviously they had something that you didn't have, which is the clout, the name, the money, all that stuff.
Especially the money.
Yeah.
Because, like, what I've also learned is that if you come, it's much easier to be an elected official if you have a stable background. Like, you have a stable family. You have a wife at home with kids and stuff. Like, you have this perfect little family setup. If you are raised from a single mother from the hood, it's much more of a struggle.
Okay. I'm not sure if this. I guess it's a philosophical question. You had a conversation. And I don't know. I'm not sure if you said this was with Brother Al or just with seasoned politicians. Period.
All right.
I think it's with Al. I think it was with Al. You talked about
a succession plan.
Yes, but more specifically, you talked about trying to get them to realize that you're talking about young people, young people not being heard.
Right.
And you said, and trying to get them to realize that, we have something to say as well, but I'm not sure if it was Al or seasoned politicians. They don't want to hear you.
It's a trend of seasoned politicians.
Okay.
Yeah, because
they focus on their base.
Right.
Okay.
But
But
it comes down to the numbers. Right?
Amen. Perfect statement. Because where I'm going is the numbers.
Right.
So if we know that anywhere you go in this country, it don't matter the election, no matter what people look like, you're going to have 65, 70, 75, 80+% of people who can vote don't vote for whatever reason, right? So if we know, and you've already had the experience, and we know that seasoned Democrats in particular, I'm not sure about Republicans, but seasoned Democrats in particular, and maybe even Republicans as well, they focus on their base, but there is a larger base of people who don't vote, who would vote if you gave them a reason to vote.
Right, if you bring them to the table.
Right. So because of that, I'm assuming you're a Democrat.
Correct.
Okay. So have you thought about not being a Democrat and going after these larger numbers of people who could vote but don't vote for whatever reason?
Well, I have, and I really have, I especially had anger at one point, but I also,
Damn it, there with it.
but I also understand the logistics of this politics.
Okay.
At some point, we have to evolve out of the two-party system,
Amen.
but currently we are stuck in it.
Okay.
Um,
So when does that evolving take place? Is it Corisha?
it takes place within the Democratic Party, honestly. It takes, because like, as you see, like Mamdani in New York
Mhm.
is a good example of
He's
like,
an independent though, right?
is he?
I thought he was an independent.
I thought no, I thought so. He's a DSA, but like he's still Democrat. I think on that
What's
ticket.
DSA?
Democratic Socialist.
Socialist.
Yeah.
What's the A for?
Of America.
Oh,
Democratic Socialist.
that's a party.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're basically a party within the Democratic Party. Because like Working Families Party is also another
Okay.
like, faction of it too.
Okay.
So but they usually work hand in hand.
So you're saying the Democratic Party needs to be more diverse in its independence as opposed to actually being an independent? Is that what you're saying?
I think it needs to be more diverse.
Okay.
And then it also needs to include different groups because I do think in the current political climate we have, there is a totem pole you must climb.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, there's so many gatekeepers at a totem pole.
Yep.
You have to break through
Yep.
just to get to the next step. And
Yep.
so we have to kill that because that is literally bottlenecking our progress.
Mm-hmm. Is it easier to kill that or start anew?
Right now, it's easy. I say easier to kill it.
Uh-huh.
Because starting anew requires, unfortunately, so much money.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you think about having a third party system, it has to require so much to build because you need to start one taking.
Has to do what? Say that again?
It requires so much infrastructure
Okay,
to
okay.
build
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like you need money, you need to start winning congressional seats in your party's name.
But if you're starting local, then those congressional seats
Right.
don't matter as much.
But at the same time, like for it to like get up there, like at some point, even when you get all of the city council
Mhm.
or you get all the local, you still have to hit the state for it to start really shifting because your area will change, but not the rest of the country. So all those other people who are saying the same ideology as you, unfortunately, are still stuck until they eventually come to your part of town.
Okay. You heard the statement, all politics is local, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Because like it's just depending on the timing, right? Federal stuff takes years down the line to come.
Mm-hmm.
State stuff takes months. County stuff takes a few weeks, and city council stuff takes days. Like it's literally kind of just the time frame of each of them
Mm-hmm.
of how they affect you, and depending on certain pieces of legislation, it can affect you tomorrow. So every piece of politics is local.
Amen. So, and given what you just said, to me, that sounds like more of a reason to try and run and control local politics.
Correct.
Because getting things done local is a lot quicker because it is local.
Right.
So if we already know that your generation of millennials are already disgruntled because they don't feel like they're being heard, and we know that a large percentage of people don't vote anyway, and I've come across a lot of millennials who don't believe in either party because they've seen too much and and they're not stupid. So it sounds like now is a good time to push for an independent something because the status quo is not really trying to allow the Corisha Rogers to speak, be heard, and be elected.
I fully understand where you're coming from. That's what I'm saying. I think one of the things I argue is that the infrastructure takes too long to build.
Yeah.
And we need to take power now, which is why groups like us at the Houston Progressive Caucus, the Working Families Party, and the Democratic Socialist Americans are all like starting to exist as factions within the party. Because we have to start building coalitions, period.
Yeah.
I think before even getting
building coalitions within the party or with other parties?
Within the party.
Okay.
Because I honestly I get it, especially if people are trying to reach to independence.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also know at this point it is Democrat or Republican, and like you're still really supporting Republican ideology. I'm feeling concerned.
Yeah.
It's because they've shown who they are.
100%.
100% mask off, and I'm like, okay, at this point, we need to start just building coalitions within the Democratic Party. Change, because I feel like it's an easier area to change. They make it hard on the surface, but that's because we don't build coalitions fast enough.
They who?
The people in charge.
So Democrat leadership makes it hard to build coalitions.
But build coalition or make them like sustainable, like make them essentially get to the point where they can actually challenge their power.
Okay. I told you earlier before we went live about this documentary that we did a movie review of Lowndes County and the Board of Black House.
Right.
Do you have Peacock by any chance at home?
I have an extended account, so yeah.
Okay, good. Amen. I want you to watch it.
Okay.
Seriously.
You have to text me so I can remember.
Trust me, girl, I'm gonna always do my best. So I want you to watch it, Corisha.
Okay. Oh yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
All right. I want you to watch. I want you to watch it because it's very, 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 very important that you understand what they did in the '60s.
Right.
When you know the brother, one of the brothers say that Lowndes County was known as Bloody Lowndes because people were being unalived and come up missing.
Right.
And they understood that again, if we're the majority, we need to control this thing. But more importantly, when they didn't understand the economic aspect of politics,
right,
we'll get into real quick. But also once their independent party, it didn't fall apart, but they got sucked up by the Democrat Party.
Right.
And that sucking up, if you will, it really took away the local energy that they had, because the reason why it became independent because the Democrat Party wouldn't recognize them as a political group.
Right.
So they had to go independent. And I want you to watch that because we have to understand like the problems the problems, issues, obstacles you're talking about right now with the Democrat Party, they've been there for a minute.
Right.
Right. So if they've been there for a minute, do you know what benign neglect is?
Yes.
Benign. So if those issues have been there for a minute, and we know, and this is the problem with a lot of millennials. I know because I talk to them. and if millennials believe that our communities look the way they look, and we've had Democrat leadership, then maybe that's not the way we should be going. So if you are already aware of the issues, and you know that there's this large number of people who don't vote anyway, that sounds like an opportunity. What do you think, Corisha?
So I agree. But I guess I think every one of us is gonna have our own different method. I think some way down the road we just have to work together. Because I think
as much as we can, sure.
Yeah, because I think what happens the worst is that we build coalition power too slowly.
Okay.
I think we have to because unfortunately you do have to build the power, you have to be the example, and then people will eventually start flocking into your fold.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. We need to move at a much faster rate because we can change how power looks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing nationally because we are starting to get more progressive candidates in these national seats. So the Progressive Coalition is starting to work together to start seizing the power from, the long-time elected officials. It's just that unfortunately we're moving at too slow of a rate. We have to, and I argue that the coalition building just got to start getting done, and we have to start having these coalitions work together. Okay. Because I think, especially us as Democrats, we are too siloed.
Yeah.
And we have to remove those. Because I worked for the Harris County Democratic Party twice, and I've learned that firsthand is that we are extremely siloed in how we operate. Mm-hmm. We have to kill that if we expect to move forward.
How does that occur? Because I've often wondered, and I've even had the conversation with Brother William, if I know about this. How does it occur where you'll have a Christian ministry, Al Green, Jesus Christ Christian, this last 18, when everybody, it's like at one point there were 26 candidates. I mean, literally 26. Yeah. We try to do this every Thursday morning as much as we can, and more often than not, we are here. One Thursday morning, we had a political event. Somebody was running. They were speaking, and the next Thursday, there was another sign of somebody else running on that fence across the street. Right. Yep. So it also sounds like to me that, and I don't know how this works, but it sounds like the Democrat Party as an organization doesn't have within it the right mechanisms to ensure that we have succession plans. People are being told where to run and how to run. And of course, you don't want to tell anybody they can't run, because I'm not sure if you can do that. But understanding that, okay, if you do run as a Democrat, you need to understand certain things. So it seems like the party, it will sound crazy, but it seems like the party is ripe for the new energy takeover. So
correct. Yeah. And I think that's what's happening, right? Because with Tracy taking over as the chair for the Harris County Democratic Party, and then us winning with Alejandra and having Joe Panzarella running for office, these are steps that showing that there are candidates who actually want to work with people's best interests, starting to move forward to, actually push that ideology. And then with the Houston Progressive Caucus that exists as well, we're also working to build a coalition of people to have that same ideology to start changing the way our political landscape looks. Because it has to change at this point.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yep.
Trump should have never got 2 terms.
Yep.
Should have got 1.
Should have got 1.
So it's like once it gets to that point, they will never admit this, but the Democratic leadership at that point has failed.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. And so they're not gonna. And that's the frustrating part, right? Is that they have failed. They don't want to acknowledge they failed, and they have no plans to get out of the way. So at this point, we just have to build together and give them a good push to heck out the way.
Okay. 2 hard questions for you.
Okay.
They might be unfair.
That's good.
I'm sorry, it's with it.
No, do it.
All right. Amen. Okay. So a 2-part question. The first one is, how does Corisha Rogers, how does she define what a Democrat is?
Okay.
And whatever that is how you define it. And then the second part of the question is, based on your description of what a Democrat is, how can there be factions within the party?
Okay.
If and this might be hard part.
Okay.
If whatever your description and or definition of what a Democrat is, if we can say that the majority in the party should believe the same thing, then how can there be factions within it?
Got it. Oh, no.
Is that
That's even harder.
My bad, excuse me. I'm not as smart.
I think so. My definition of what a Democrat is, I think, is a person who believes that all people are inevitably equal, right?
Okay.
I think a person who believes that everyone should, if we are paying tax dollars,
We're paying tax dollars.
we should have access to resources.
Yeah. Amen.
And
this whole thing is a fight for resources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's always a battle of what kind of resource, but we should have universal health care.
Yeah.
The healthcare system is an entire mess, and we should have better safeguards. We should have better safeguards for people who lose jobs. The job economy right now is awful. If you are out of work right now, you're going to be out of work for at least a year or 2.
At least.
In that, because like I was out of work for 9 months.
Yeah.
So like, it is real. This is not like, it's just having safeguards for your citizens, because this country does not operate fairly.
Yeah.
And we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And being able to work on that. Because like I have to always clarify, I'm a Black progressive, right? Because I work for Black issues, but I'm also progressive.
Sure.
And having to balance that line, because I know some Black people are very pragmatic and kind of disillusioned. So they're just like, this is the most cold, hard, logical choice. And then sometimes I was like, we have to kind of bend away from that because that doesn't help us either.
Okay.
Because when we do the cold, logical choice, we're putting in people who will say to your face, I care about your community.
Yep.
But when it comes to going into that legislative office, they're not active in it, or they do one piece of legislation. See, guys, I care about the Black community. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We need more hardline people that actually care about Black issues, because Black issues help other communities as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And like the whole reason the current system is in place and the things that we struggle with is because they don't want Black people to have that access. Yeah. And I think what they're trying to do is shy us away from that conversation. A lot of the reason we don't have things today that could make our lives much better is because they do not want Black people to have access to that. Yeah. And it's important that we are part of the leadership in that conversation, because when we have issues that help us, it's every other community. And I think that's so important, and that's why it matters so much for us to start having these coalitions, building the power, start taking control. Yeah. And moving. We need to move forward, not stay where we are.
Amen. So I'm assuming that there would be factions within the party because people obviously don't believe what you just said.
Well, it's that, but also other motivations, because not everybody joins the party for that ideology. Sure. Some of them saying, I want to be the next elected official. I don't care what it takes. Right. Yeah. And they will do that.
Yeah, they went for individualistic reasons.
Yeah. They move on individualistic. Because I think at the end of the day, the ideology is the same. It's just how we get there. Okay. It's extremely different. Some are like, we should play the slow and long game, which is what we were playing. And unfortunately, it's not working. Yeah. Some just like, okay, things are fine. I'm like, where have you been? Yeah. And then some are like, we need to move forward. And that's kind of where I'm at in that faction of it. Okay. Like, we need to move forward. We need so much change. It's not going to happen overnight. We understand that. But we need to start making those steps now. Yeah. Because if we don't, they're like the Republicans move 10 steps ahead of us. Yep. And it should never been that way.
Way more organized, and they don't care about it.
And they hate each other. Mind you, I know that people say, oh, they hate each other. They absolutely despise each other, but they also understand their agenda. Like, they are all, to be frank, white men who understand
you're right.
that we need to protect white men power.
Yeah. And they're serious about it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So have you acknowledged that you are different than other? Okay, amen. So understanding that you are different, which is a good thing, because God knows we don't need more of the same. Okay. how do we get more millennials given our topic this morning?
You're right.
I forgot what it was. Somebody get millennials to pay attention. How do we get more millennials to not only maybe not have the passion that you have, because that comes from a different place.
Right.
But how do we get more millennials to understand what you've been saying repeatedly? This is important and it matters.
I think one, we need to be able to have these conversations, because when people talk about politics, some people I'm like, no, stop doing that.
Right.
Stop. You really have to just sit down and talk. Like, do you know who your city council person is? Do you know who your state rep?
Yeah.
Your state senator?
Yeah.
Do you know these people?
Yeah.
You need to have some, you don't need to have the best idea. You don't need to have their whole bio, but you need to at least have the bullet points of who they are.
Right.
What have they done for you recently? Because some of these people are just coasting in these seats, and if they got kicked, they gotta get them out there.
Yeah.
And so
where do we have those conversations?
At the dinner table, in the game room, like I'm a gamer. I play video games.
Okay.
We have Discord chats. I think we need to have conversations
Stop.
there.
You said game room. Okay, like I said, I'm 55. No, wait. This is funny to me. Because when you said game room, because I'm older than you, I immediately thought about the arcade. but then you said I'm a gamer. Oh, wait. She means game room now. Okay, all right. I got you. All right.
Yeah,
So, for the older people, she don't mean game rooms.
Because like right now in the video gaming community, there are a lot of racists in there, unfortunately.
That's a fact.
Because like the second the game don't go their way, the quickest way they drop the N-word is insane.
They know you're a black woman?
No.
Okay. So they're just saying,
Yeah.
it's not slang? Like they just do it because they hear that word?
Yeah.
Oh, they mean
it could be a bit of that, but also it usually is like you can tell it's white kid on the mic.
Okay, I got you.
And they drop so fast. And I'm just like, yeah, avoiding you.
Yeah.
And it's just like we have to have it in these different spaces.
Have this conversation where the people are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't just keep having it on TV, on social. Like these help. These give people a snapshot, but we have deeper conversation, and families need to be okay having political conversations.
Right.
But also, when you're not having a safe space to have political conversation, because we know some family dynamics, find a space that is.
Right. Find a space, and for people like us, we have to be, you and I specifically,
right? We
have to be more intentional in not necessarily creating the space, because we don't want it to be a political conversation, because it just be me and you there talking about whatever. But inserting these nuggets of information in these spaces at these events. For example, if there's a concert and somebody's doing whatever they're doing, or something at Miller Outdoor Theater, finding a way to give us 5 minutes and say whatever they need to say about politics, local politics, whatever.
Right.
So we got to find a way to be more creative.
Right.
To as you just said, have the conversation where the people are, as opposed to trying to get them to come out something that's political, because they're probably not going to do that.
Right.
Yes. Okay. And you believe that if we did that, then we could get more millennials to pay attention.
Yeah, especially we got to be where they're at. Like we can't keep expecting them to come to us. Gotta go to them. Yeah. And that's what I'm planning on. That's what I've been doing with the Progressive Caucus. We're building this coalition. We're starting to hit areas of town. Like, hey, we're here for you. Yeah. What's bothering you? Tell us, and we'll start working on it.
Okay. Can you pinpoint the conversations you've had with millennials? Yeah. I'm assuming you talk to your generation.
Right.
Okay. What are the top 2 or 3 issues that they have as far as not being heard?
I mean, it's not being heard is one, but also the cost of living. It's just that really it all relates to cost of living. Okay. Everything's high. Everything's expensive. I can't afford. On one job, I can barely afford my daily expenses. Yeah. I have to get a second one. I get a side gig, and it's just like that's insane. We should be able, because like we're supposed to be making more than our parents and our parents' parents, but we're struggling 10 times more. Yeah. Okay. This one was the last question you said. That wasn't even hard. Stupid. So this one might be a little hard. All right. I'm gonna try hard. Okay. So as I said to you about the Lowndes County documentary, which you are going to watch. Yes. Yeah. They did good initially, but initially they lost, but when they came back, they were more organized and they started to win. But they didn't understand the importance of economics to go along with the political. Right. They were winning offices, but the white people took the economics of the county, right, which made it difficult for them to maintain those seats and make change. All right. So a lot of our young people, a lot of our people, period, who want to run for office, they have good intentions of creating change, but there is no fundamental understanding of business, right, of economics. So what is your perspective on the absolute importance of understanding business and how to make money, as opposed to trying to just get someone to
give you money to do good things.
And I think that all starts with one, encouraging our Black businesses to thrive.
Okay.
Like, because they control the economy, but that's also why it's important for the communities that we have, that we are creating our own economies to work together to be able to start building that power. And also having the idea of infrastructure, no matter what you try to run for, or what you try to lead, have some degree of infrastructure planned. So you know that unfortunately this is a money game. You're gonna have to at some point raise some dollars to get something. And what is your plan to do that? And then it's also just getting other people informed about it too, because I think when you inform people, some people are like, "Oh, I didn't know. How can I know?" And I think it's kind of a multi-layered game trying to build that infrastructure.
Do you think our candidates would be better and or stronger if they had an entrepreneurial background, understanding, slant? Or you think it's not necessarily?
No, I think it helps.
Yeah.
Because running a campaign is running a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's essentially having that background knowledge to be able to do that, to get started, to know what you got to start, how much you got to raise, and having targeting and because all that's kind of like how you lead with businesses. Like you got to know who your audience is, who you're trying to get money from, and it works. It works. I think it works hand in hand.
Amen. No doubt. Okay. Next question. Slight shift. The current.
How many more out of curiosity?
I got 3.
3?
Yeah. You I'm saying you get your watch. You have an appointment?
I have work. Yeah.
Oh, what time you gotta be there?
10:30.
Oh, is it close?
Yeah, it's almost. It's not.
No, it's close to here.
No, downtown.
That's not far. Is it 20 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be close.
Okay.
So next question. What can be done to push against this current administration? How can we get more people involved to push? Not only get them involved to push back, but get them to understand why you need to be involved, because we got to push back. How do we do that?
How do we do that? One is like I've been saying, is build a coalition. So the coalitions need to be built. Like we have to start sticking together as a community. We can't keep fighting over small issues. Like this is the big game is overall us having any degree of political power at all. Because what they're doing right now is trying to make sure we have none. Especially with that recent Supreme Court decision regarding the Voting Rights Act. That is absolutely trying to decimate us from having any degree of voting power and removing our congressional districts. We're already seeing across the nation congressional districts are being lost. And if we don't take control here, especially in Texas, the whole 18 congressional district ballot we had is about to mean nothing because they'll just remove the district next legislative session. Yeah,
I actually heard a Republican say a few weeks ago that we just have to get the 14th Amendment off the book. So they just 14th.
Once we get that, it's what they require 60%, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a 60% majority in the United States, so that they can do that.
Yeah, which is frightening. Yeah. Right. Next question. Direct correlation to that one. Segue. How do we get our people to understand why you opting out of local politics is a non-starter?
Yeah, it's because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And like I literally said, if you're not being in this conversation, there are people trying to plan ways to make sure you never come to the table. So it's so important that you get involved so that you make sure that you have your voice heard, and that if people are not listening to you the way you like, you get them out. I think politicians need to be afraid of their job. They need to be able to do their job with the thought that if I don't do what's right for my community, I'll be voted out next. I
won't have this job.
Yeah. Right. But the way that it is now is that once you're in there, it's hard to get you out. Right. And so that it shouldn't be a thing, because that when they do that, they get complacent and they only start very half-heartedly going after issues. Right. Like, I'm gonna win my re-election anyway. Yeah. You can't stop me. Yeah. We gotta kill that mentality.
Yep. I agree. So for a young person, for a person, period, particularly a young person who hears you, they feel what you're saying, and they want to do more, but they don't know where to get started. Right. What would you say to them?
I would say start at your local Democratic Party office. Okay. And if the Democratic Party office you don't feel is right for you, find local coalitions. There are a whole list of local clubs, organizations, all trying to help people in the community understand the importance of their vote.
That list online somewhere? How would they find that list?
So the list is actually on the Harris County Democratic Party website.
Say that slow.
Oh, sorry. Harris County Democratic Party website.
You can find that list up.
Yeah, of clubs and organizations. Okay. But also I would just Google Houston Democratic clubs. Okay. then they will start popping up. I would say if you're interested, join the Houston Progressive Caucus.
Okay.
We are definitely doing issues, and I'm the reason I became a co-chair is because I want to make sure as we're fighting for progressive values, we're also including Black progressive values.
Right. And if they're of the mindset, I don't like either party, but I want to do something in politics, then where do they go?
If they don't like either party, I think they should go basically start helping candidates that they feel more aligned with them.
Okay.
No matter the party affiliation. Because unfortunately our system is stuck in this two-party system.
Yeah.
So until that day changes, you have to get somewhere.
That's right. That's right. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So last two questions. The first one is, what can you say? I want you to think of the scariest thing that is happening or may happen with this current administration that can motivate somebody to get involved. The scariest thing you could think of.
That for the current for the administration?
Yes.
Mass mobilization.
Okay.
That's easy. It's like if we as because like those 2.1 million voters that are here in Harris County, if we even get 1.5 of them to vote, we flip the state.
Okay.
So it's literally they're afraid of mass mobilization. That's why Republicans and also do so many voting rights efforts because they're trying to basically they're trying to do death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're trying to do death by 1,000 cuts, and when you're hearing all this back and forth about their thing, you kind of feel kind of disillusioned. Like, okay, I guess it doesn't matter. No, they're doing that because it is free PR to say to make it give you that illusion, but it's not true. If we all got up tomorrow and voted it here in Harris County, we could flip the state.
Yeah. Okay. So flip that question.
Okay.
You got a room full of millennials.
Okay.
And you want to scare them into getting involved. And you want to scare them based on not what you think, but what's currently happening.
Right.
Or what they're trying to do. What do you say to this room full of millennials? That if you don't get involved, then these things are going to happen.
If you don't get involved by time we're our parents' age, we won't be able to vote. Period. Like there's no other way around it. That these people are trying, like they're actively making efforts to dilute our vote, to eliminate our vote, which is why it's so important that we get involved now. Yeah. Because I say we have like a 3 to 5 year window to try to change things around before we are permanently damaged. Yeah. Hey, and say in Texas, we maybe had this cycle. Yeah. Because basically we don't get any change before 2030, which will be the next census. Yeah. About what power we have left.
And that goes back to what you said initially, that voting, especially local, that's everything that affects your life. That makes your life what your life is.
You always should vote top down. You should never just vote top of the ticket. Those people affect you months down the line. You want people that affect you next week.
That's right.
You need to vote at the bottom of the ballot.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not sure if you heard this, but I heard Trump say more than once that if you vote for me this time around, you'll never have to vote again.
Yeah, and he meant that.
And he meant that. Yeah, and say what you will about him when he says what he means. And then he does stuff based on what he says.
Right, which is why it's so important that we engage. We got to engage. This is the time now. Amen. And everybody who's frustrated, he got a second term. We got to make sure he never gets a term and never a Trump guy like himself ever takes power in this lifetime.
And trust and believe that he has created a blueprint for other people to do what he's doing and continue to go further. Okay, so in closing, thank you very much for being here. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Trust me when I say you and I, we cousins now, so we're gonna be friends forever. You don't have to trust. Is there anything you want to say in closing as relates to Corisha Rogers, what you do, how you do it, and for anybody who wants to be involved?
Well, yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm a longtime advocate for people getting out to vote, and I will always stand on that. If you ever want to check out what I'm working on or who I'm talking to, I have a TikTok and an Instagram with Corisha, Corisha, for Texas. That is my handle on both Instagram and Twitter. TikTok. Feel free to follow those because I'm constantly trying to get people engaged with ways to get involved. And I'm happy to help any way I can. If you ever see me in the streets, say hi, ask me questions. I always love having these conversations.
Hey man, I'm sorry, brother. Well, I didn't ask you once if you had a question. You got any questions? Like all the time. I forgot you know. Okay, so let me get on this side because I'm close to the camera. All right, so in closing, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for always supporting. Thank you for showing up.
Of course.
Like I said, we're cousins now, so we're gonna be this is why we do what we do. Because people like Corisha, they do exist. They are real. She don't look 32. 32. Yeah, she don't look 32. Not to me. She looks 24-ish. But she got skin in the game and she has experience. She's knowledgeable. She's intelligent. She holds her own on the debate stage, no matter who's on that stage. She speaks truth to power and she don't give a damn, which is good. We need that, and we need more people her age, her generation, who understand that your voice matters. We need and want your voice. But we need and want your voice in an organized fashion. Just screaming and yelling into the void, that changes nothing.
Right.
We have to be organized. We have to be as organized and possibly, hopefully, more organized than our enemies,
Right.
because they have an agenda. And if you don't think they're serious about that agenda, I offer you one exhibit A, Project 2025.
Yep.
Most people thought that thing was not real.
Right.
It was a Democrat scare tactic. They can't do that. That's not legal. Blah 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 blah.
And they do it every book of the page.
If you when you control every controlling mechanism of government, the courts, the judges, the Supreme Court, you can do whatever you want to do. What was once illegal, you can make legal, and vice versa.
Exactly.
So if we don't fight, if we don't connect with people who are fighting, then we're going to lose. And I remember when Dr. Johnson Benefield spoke, I asked her, but she was laying out the key things on an upcoming ballot, and why they're so important that we vote for those things, but more importantly, why we need to understand those things. And based on her presentation, I asked her, I said, is voting the most important thing that you absolutely must do as a citizen of this country? And she said, yes.
Yeah.
Because if you don't vote, you're allowing other people, as you said earlier, you're allowing their agenda to become the controlling mechanism for your life.
Right.
And like Sister Corisha said, which I agree with, they want to take away your right to vote because they understand. I'm sorry. Because they understand that as long as there's one person, one vote, especially if we get organized, they can't win. And they know that. That's why they're always going after your vote. So on that note, this is why we do what we do. She gave you her social media. Please follow her. And you're going to see she and I on more stuff because, as I said, she's my little cousin now. So with that, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next Thursday.
Have a great night or a great morning.
Somebody need coffee.